I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and we're Sophie and Sarah.
Thank you for joining us today on this video.
Now let's get right into the video. Woo! Hello and welcome to the Sophie and Sarah Test Kitchen, and today we are going to be making various types of cookies. So I originally wanted to just make cookies because our school's actually having a bake-off sort of thing on Instagram. So I was like, okay, I'll just make cookies. And then I rewatched Phantom of the Opera when The Shows Must Go On was posting theirs, was posting Phantom of the Opera on YouTube up for 24 hours. So I actually rewatched it, remembered how much I love it. And then the week after, which was last weekend, they posted Love Never Dies, which is the sequel, which a lot of people hate. I'm not a big fan of the plot, but I love the music. And it's so good. All the music is so good. I just really loved that. And I was like, you know what? Let's make some Phantom of the Opera inspired cookies. So I made these little ones. And actually, a few weeks ago too, I, for some reason, was feeling like some nostalgia for 7th and 8th grade. I really wanted to rewatch the Hunger Games movies and reread the books, and I really wanted Hunger Games cookies too, so I made these ones too, these little Mockingjay pin ones. So, we've got a variety of cookies today. I had extra royal icing that I didn't know what to do with, so I made these little agate looking ones. You can't really see it that well in this light. They're actually using a marble technique, so you're gonna see me do a lot of different things. This is one of my first times working with royal icing officially and not giving up halfway through, so I hope you do like this, and yeah, let's get on to the video. Ooh. So here I'm starting off by taking my red fondant and making a rectangle sort of thing out of it, and I'm making sure that the top half is thinner than the bottom half. So the top is really thin and the bottom is thicker. Then I roll it up so that it kind of looks like a bulb. Then what I do is I pull up a little bit of that thicker part on the bottom and kind of curl it up on the top so that it looks like a petal, and I repeat that all the way around. I'll link a video down below of how I learned how to do this. This was a technique I saw on Wilton's YouTube channel, so I'll link that down below if you want a more in-depth tutorial. So here I'm mixing up some black royal icing using some black food coloring, and I had to use quite a bit to get it that dark color, and if anything it still ended up kind of gray. And I didn't have any piping bags on me, and I didn't want to do the Ziploc bag thing, so I just actually dipped my cookies right in, and they came out pretty well. They came out pretty smooth, and I filled in any of those excess areas that didn't get covered with royal icing using a spoon. Now I'm setting that aside and getting ready to start making my fondant decorations. So here I printed out a template of how big I'd want my Mockingjay design to be, and then I cut it out with my scissors, only really doing the bird part because the outside circle I could just cut with some circle cutters. So I'm dusting my work surface with some powdered sugar and then rolling out my yellow fondant on top of it. I'm making sure to use a pretty liberal amount of powdered sugar because it's already quite wet and sticky, and also the added food coloring made mine even softer. So here I am rolling it out. Now it's really thin, and I cut out my starting circles. So this one was the size I wanted it to be, but I also didn't have a smaller circle cutter to go on the inside to make the perfect circle on inside of a circle. So I actually took this same one and kind of curved it around so that it would still match the circle, and then I went through it with the knife. Sorry my head's kind of in the way. This is the best camera angle I can get. Here I'm rolling out another piece of yellow fondant to be pretty much the same thickness as my circle before so that they all match up pretty nicely. And here I place my Mockingjay template on top and trim it out with a sharp knife. Here I am picking up my Mockingjay design and putting it on top of that circle that I made just to see if it all matches up, kind of how I want it to look. And I found that mine was a little bit off on certain parts, so I trimmed off a little bit of the wing, trimmed off a little bit of the tail so that it matched perfectly and fit on my circle really well. Here I'm cutting out a strip of yellow fondant for the body of the arrow that the Mockingjay is holding. So I basically just cut 2 parallel lines really close together so that I get a little strip. You could also roll out a really thin piece of fondant. That's what I did on my second one, but I think this one came out with a cleaner cut. So I'd recommend probably just cutting out a strip. Here I'm laying them down onto my pin, my whole pin design, and I'm trimming it so that it's the right size. Here I'm dusting out some powdered sugar to get started on my phantom cookies. So I rolled out some white fondant, and just by eye, I cut out what the half mask shape was. And so here you can see I'm looking up at my laptop quite a bit so that I get the right size. And just kind of eyeball it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you can always fix it. And I found that mine had some rough edges because my fondant was drying out, so I kind of just smoothed it out with a little bit of water. You could always trim it a little more or do whatever. And here I'm cutting out the eye part of the mask using a knife, and basically just keep noodling with it until it looks good. Now I'm taking the square cookies that I've already dipped in the black royal icing, and they're already dry, so that's good, and I'm placing the mask onto the kind of left side of it, and putting one of my roses on the top. You can see I have one that's finished on the left side. And that's kind of what they look like as of now. So now I'm also mixing up some green royal icing, and I'm putting them into a parchment piping bag. Again, I still didn't have regular piping bags, and this is my first time using a parchment paper one, so that was interesting. And it worked pretty well. And I found that mine didn't have a big enough hole, so I cut off the tip a little bit and just kind of piped the stem of the flower underneath the rose, just to get a little more color and kind of make it look more balanced. I also added a little leaf on the side of the stem just to give it more of a flower look. And that's what the finished phantom cookies look like. So, I had clearly made way too many cookies for the amount of time that each Hunger Games and Phantom cookie take to make. Those took a long time just to make the 4 of those. So I took my leftover white royal icing and dropped some drops of this neon food coloring in there. I did 2 drops of this nice light blue and 2 drops of purple. Then I swirled them around with a toothpick. You've probably seen this technique done before on Pinterest, and I saw it too and thought it was really cool, so I wanted to try it out. And so here I'm swirling them, but not mixing them all the way to get an in-between color, letting the colors still be what they are, but together. And so here I'm dipping my cookies in, making sure not to get my fingers in because I don't want blue fingers for the rest of my life, and letting the icing drip off the excess. Then I'm taking a toothpick just to make sure that icing stops and flipping over my cookies, and there's my design. The first few cookies will end up kind of dark because that's where all the food coloring is, but as you go down they end up with a nice lighter color that looks really cool. And here are my finished cookies. I hope you liked that video, and I think it was pretty sweet. I think I'm gonna go get a sugar crash right now from just tasting royal icing throughout the video. And I'll see you whenever I next post a video. Bye! Whoop!
Thank you for watching this video by Sophie and Sarah. There's another video you may enjoy right here, and you can click right here to subscribe for more sunshine and stupidity.
And you can click the notification bell to get an alert anytime we post a new video. Thanks for watching!